Good evening and welcome to the Ombudsman program. My name is Diane Wellborn. I am the Ombudsman and I'm also going to be your host for this evening's program. Tonight I'm very excited to bring to the viewers a lot of information about our Montgomery County Environmental Management Services and the Solid Waste District. And in order to make this possible, I have two very special guests with me, Commissioner Judy Dodge and Director Patrick Turnbull. Thank you very much for coming on the program. I'd like to give a little bit more introduction about my guest this evening so that viewers will know. Commissioner Dodge was born and raised in Dayton, and you attended Dayton Public Schools, graduated from Colonel White High School, and went on to get your BA from Wright State University. Began your career in public service in 1985 and elected to serve as our Montgomery County Recorder in 2000 and re-elected in 2004. Before your position as Recorder, you served as an assistant court administrator for the Domestic Relations Court. You were elected to the Montgomery County Commission in November of 2006 and re-elected in 2008, 2012, and 2016. Congratulations on all that wonder. You've also been the honor of being recognized as a woman of influence in 2012 by the YWCA and has been included in the Dayton Business Journal's Power 50 for the past 4 years. You were recognized by the Dayton Daily News as one of Miami Valley's top 10 women in 2003. You've been honored with the Law Days Liberty Bell and the Dayton Women's Association Distinguished Service Award. Last year, Judy was recognized by the Ohio Food Policy Network as a 2018 Local Food Hero for healthy local and regional food systems. You served on numerous community boards and commissions during her many years of public service. You currently reside in Vandalia and have 2 adult children and 3 wonderful grandchildren. So again, thank you for coming to talk to us tonight, particularly on one of your commission topics, the solid waste, and we will definitely come back to that. I'd like our viewers to also get to know Patrick Turnbull a little bit better, the Director of Environmental Services. As Director, Pat plans, directs, and coordinates all aspects of the county's water, sewer, and solid waste district. He leads the department in setting long-term goals and objectives, policies, and procedures. He previously served as County Sanitary Engineer in Miami County and as a project engineer for Civil Engineers of Southwest Ohio and for GGC Engineers. He is a licensed professional engineer, holds a master's degree in public administration from Wright State University, and serves as a board member for Allwood Audubon Center and Farm and the 5th Street Brew Pub. Wonderful. Thank you very much for coming.
That's the most important one, the 5th Street Brew Pub.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Well, see, you learned something new tonight, and I'm sure the viewers now have been well introduced to Director Turnbull. So without further ado, because we do really have a lot of information to cover because the Environmental Services Management does so much for us in Montgomery County, and I think the roles are probably ever expanding. So let's start with the Solid Waste Commission. Commissioner Dodge, how did the Solid Waste District come to be?
Come to be.
Yes.
Exactly. Well, you know, in 1956, we were just children then, of course.
Yes.
The Board of County Commissioners created what they called the Garbage and Refuse District.
Okay.
That's a mouthful.
It is.
So many years later, the commissioners said, no, we've decided we're going to go just with Solid Waste District. So it's been that way now for quite some time.
All right. Very good.
So it's much easier to say than
Yes, it is. It is not such a tongue twister,
Exactly.
is it? So what is its purpose? What's its reason for being?
Well, we have to manage basically the solid waste that is, needs to be disposed of here in Montgomery County. And one of the things we are so lucky to be on our board, 28 jurisdictions.
That's
from
all.
Montgomery County.
Yeah.
Yep, that's every jurisdiction that is here in Montgomery County are active and inspired to be active on this committee. And they're very involved, they attend the meetings, and we just couldn't be happier because it's so important for them to become involved, because it's their citizens that are concerned about, when they take the trash and put it at their curb, what's going to happen to it.
Right.
So the purpose is basically just to make sure that we don't run out of landfill space, and that we put a lot of programs on to basically promote, recycling, reusing, and so we just do a lot of programs, and I think we're going to talk about a lot of those a little bit later.
We will come back to those. I came across one interesting word that I'm not sure we hear all the time, and it's about diversion. So can one of you tell us, how are we to understand diversion in the context of waste?
Sure. So it comes down to the 3 R's, right?
Yeah.
So reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Okay.
So the 3 big ways that you can keep trash out of landfills. So that's what diversion is.
And so that's what we're doing.
Because landfills only have, a certain life, and
Right.
so, we want to make sure that, neighbors where the landfill is are not going to put up with it, just becoming overgrown and having too much disposal there. So we have to be very, very mindful of that.
Oh, yes, I know that we do. I think that we have a slide. The first slide is about the solid waste district, and I'd like to have our staff please to put that up. And it reiterates the importance of the founding of the solid waste district, and it also highlights that there are 28 member jurisdictions. So that first slide will be useful for the viewers to get to see. And my next question, though, is going to be about the handling of the role of the waste district in handling environmental crimes. And as we discuss that, there is a second slide that talks a little bit about environmental crimes, the Environmental Crimes Task Force, and shows a picture for us of some criminal activity caught on camera.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're very fortunate because we partner with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and that officer is basically, that's what they do. They make sure that if you are dumping illegally, that's a crime. You will be prosecuted for it. And also, I don't know if our listeners or our viewers here understand, but you cannot haul over 10 tires in at the back of your truck. That you have to have a permit for that.
Okay.
So that's another crime. So we've been very fortunate over the years with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Department as far as prosecuting these crimes, and they've been very successful. And so we're very pleased because, nobody wants to have somebody come and dump a bunch of crap right in your yard or close
next to you,
or
or
exactly, or
by
in the
your
alley
park.
behind you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awful. It's awful.
Yeah.
So if any of our viewers, if they know of anything like that, please call. It's 937-225-HELP.
Okay.
225-HELP. And someone will come out and take a look at that.
Okay, and examine that then.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that all the 28 districts are happy to have this task force in place. What is the most common crime that we haven't, or crimes, there may be more than one, in our area?
I'd say probably the biggest one is tire dumping.
Tire dumping.
Which has really historically kind of been one of the big focuses, and why there is it requires a license to haul more than 10 tires. That's also, it was actually through this Environmental Crimes Task Force that about 6 years ago we put together our once-a-year tire buyback event, which over the course of a half dozen years we've had people from the public, we paid them $2 a tire, and they brought in 100,000 tires over the last 6 years, which has a huge impact on the community. We know that because our jurisdictional members have told us. They said, we have seen a great reduction in tire dumping. It reduces the cost for the communities that have to clean it up. So tires are definitely
worth the $2.
It's worth it.
All right. So if a person needs to participate in this, does it happen annually? Is it ongoing, or when do you do this?
It's actually both. So folks can always bring, Montgomery County residents can actually bring tires at no cost to them if they're changing the tires on their car to our transfer station at any time.
Okay.
Or if once a year, if you want to participate in kind of a neighborhood cleanup and get paid a few dollars, as long as you don't haul more than 10 tires, we'll be paid $2.
And break that licensing thing.
That's right. So it's they can do both. And the annual event happens around September. It's in September usually.
Oh, that's good.
And we advertise for it, and we put the word out. And I have gone, I think, for the past 4 or 5 years, and the line of cars starts as soon as we open up, like 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. The line of cars is already there. People have, gotten extra tires in their garage, and they have 3 or 4 tires, and that's $2, for every tire. Now, they have to be a Montgomery County resident.
Yes.
That's the other thing.
You
They
can't
have to be
take
Exactly.
other counties' tires.
Right.
I want to thank all the viewers that have participated in that, because probably some have, but we also have a caller.
Okay.
So I'd like to address the caller. We'd love to hear your question. Please go ahead.
Thank you. This is such a wonderful show. Thanks to both of the guests. Such a topic of broad public interest. I wanted to ask a question about the environmental crimes, dumping, and what qualifies. Some years ago, we were having the roof on one side of our house repaired, and the roofer from Indiana removed some tiles that had asbestos in the tiles. And I know that asbestos is a toxic material. And instead of taking them away, as he promised to do, when he was finished with the job, and only after he had gone, we discovered that he had hidden or secreted the roof tiles in a small tin shed that we had behind the house. And he never came back to get them. Does this qualify as the sort of hazardous waste crime that you are discussing?
Thank you very much for that question, and we'll get an answer for you.
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, this would definitely be the type of activity that we would want reported through our litter crimes task force.
Okay.
Yeah, and 937-225-HELP. The deputy would investigate that activity and.
And they'd be prosecuted.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we have to know. I mean, this isn't something that, just we
Right.
don't know. Yeah, we have to be called and told.
Right, right. You have to know. Well, it's very impressive that the tire buyback event has been so successful. Are you planning to extend that to other types of waste, or?
We really don't have the same volume demand
Okay.
that we see for tires. Tires are by far the largest volume of things that we see kind of illegally dumped.
Okay, so that's the biggest one.
That's really the big focus.
What would you say is the second greatest problem that we have
Second
with
greatest, interestingly enough, paint. Paint is actually, we find from time to time paint, which also you can bring to our recycling canopy out at the transfer station and get recycled there as well. So.
Okay, so paint can be recycled and doesn't have to become a crime.
Yeah, I wanted to add about the tires.
Please.
The tires then, once they're collected, are shredded. And then they're used for mulching and, in the gardens, and also for playground, the floor there of the playground. In fact, I took my grandchildren to a park. As they're coming down the slide, there's a sign that says, thanks to Montgomery County Solid Waste District for the tires. So,
Okay, so
yeah.
they can be recycled in a
So nice
positive
and
way.
soft, so
Yeah,
they
that's
can
good.
fall.
They can land on it. We have another call.
Okay.
Yes, caller, we'd love to hear your question. You're on the air. Hello?
Yes.
Yes, you're on the air. Please go ahead.
All right, thank you. I recently moved from Dayton to Vandalia, and in Dayton I had to separate my trash for recycling, but it's not required here in the Butler Township, Vandalia area, and I was wondering why that was. And then I guess a second part to that is if it's not required in suburban areas or neighboring, townships or communities, then how, I've heard that recycling helps our environment, so how would that be improving our environment when some areas are required and others aren't?
Very good question. Thank you for calling in. Which one of you would like to take that?
I'll take
That's
it.
yours, huh?
Yeah, so each of our 28 member jurisdictions make kind of their own decisions from a community standpoint on what is their level of service to the residents, right? And I'm not sure, is she in Butler Township?
She lives, I think, in Vandalia,
Yes.
but she was
She
talking
mentioned
about
Butler Township, yes.
Many of our community members, and most in fact, have curbside pickup, but in some communities are also subscription where the residents make the choice. I'm not sure which is the case there. But regardless, we also have a recycling canopy at our transfer station. So if somebody wants to make a difference and they're currently, they're not recycling at their curb, they could bring it to our transfer station. So I'd have to find out her specific case.
Okay, all right. So she could call some of the numbers that we're going to give you later to find out, but there is always the transfer station
Yes,
for residents of our county.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, and also I think whoever the city manager is, or the trustees, or the council people, I would say, call the government office and find out, who the trash hauler is and, what their decision is as far as how they're handling it.
Okay, they're very good suggestions. Now for the staff, I'd like to ask if we could see the slide about household hazardous waste, and so we can move into talking a little bit about the special collections, of which there are many. So what makes it special, and what are we doing with all of these? We have a list up here now for our viewers to see this slide.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's actually, a whole variety of things. Everything from the paint that I mentioned earlier to your old refrigerator that quit working.
Appliances,
Electronics. Used oil. So generally, if something can be recycled, we accept it at the transfer station, and we source places that can recycle the products that are in it. So.
Okay, all right. And there's a second slide about the plastics and cardboard that how to recycle right. But before or while you're getting that, we have another caller, so we will hold on that and we will come right back to it. Yes, hello. Thank you for calling the program. We'd love to hear your question. Hello?
Yes.
Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I'm just tuning in late, so I hope that you haven't already covered this. I heard that there is such a program called McMurph that provides some recycled things to nonprofits, but I'm wondering if your guests can describe what that process is and how a nonprofit organization could get involved.
Okay, thank you very much. Did you all catch that?
I didn't catch all of that.
Excuse me. Okay, are callers still there?
Yes.
Okay, tell us again, just please repeat your question.
Yeah, I was wondering about the McMurph program.
McMurph.
Okay.
Now we were on the page. We've got it now. Thank you for your call.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, McMurph, it's wonderful, just wonderful.
Now we have to say, what is McMurph?
Montgomery County
Material reuse facility.
Materials Reuse Facility.
Okay, very good.
And we would love organizations or citizens or anyone, let's say you're moving from an office and we've got some furniture there, office furniture, bring it down to McMurph, down right next door to their environmental services building. They'll take a look at it and accept it probably. And then, we then ask nonprofits, teachers to come and take a look, and then they can take it to their classroom or a nonprofit that's starting their company coming up. So it's just a wonderful, wonderful opportunity.
Okay.
So we would encourage that, and I know that you said you've used it.
Yes, our office has definitely used McMurph, and it's simple to do, and you'll be surprised at what you can find there. So it's a very, very helpful center for us.
What is the address down there on
On Sandridge?
Yeah.
So we'll have that information right at the end of the program, but it's on Sandridge Drive.
Right.
Yeah, right off of the interstate, so just south of the interstate. Okay, well, let's go back to the slide that shows us how to recycle right. And I think this is something we can probably all learn from. How to do it correctly.
Yes.
Because
And that's important.
there is a procedure to this. It's
Well-
not just a free-for-all with recycling. So
Exactly, and anymore it definitely is, and it costs money if you don't recycle right, because like Rumpke takes it to their facility in Cincinnati and then has to go through it, and so it takes a lot longer then to really pull the stuff out to be able to recycle it. So I think hopefully we've got a list of the things that we do recycle.
yes, we do have this list of, and if you could put up how to recycle right for the viewers, excuse me, it's got some products here. So tell us more about the plastics. When you say number 1 to number 7, what does this mean?
So on any plastic container, there's actually a number, usually pretty small on the bottom. So number 1s through number 7s, but the biggest piece there is plastic bottles. Those are recyclable. Things that are not plastic bottles, think like your salad containers and things like that. The sorting technology doesn't do a great job of separating those out. So those end up in the trash anyway at the back end of the process. So with plastic, if it looks like a bottle, kind of a bottle in shape, it's probably good. If it's not, you want to go ahead and throw that out.
Okay. And then what about plastic bags, like baggies?
Yeah, so plastic bags all the way around should not be in your recyclables.
That's a big no-no.
Right.
Yeah,
And so-
okay.
So not only do not try to recycle the bags themselves, don't put your recyclables in a bag either. They should leave those loose inside of your recycling container, because what happens with the sorting that happens is there's big metal pieces that are basically spinning around, and those plastic bags can get wrapped around, and it creates operational pain for the sorters and costs some time and money.
Okay. And as a suggestion for plastic bags, what do you suggest that people do? Just put them in the garbage, or take them back to your local store that participates in that?
Put them in the garbage, and in the future use something other than a plastic bag.
Right.
Those reusable bags that you're seeing more and more, those are great. Paper bags are also okay because you can recycle those.
Okay.
But plastic bags, yeah, we need to get away from those.
Do you all think that we're somewhere near eliminating those, either by charging money for them, as I've experienced in some other cities, or is Montgomery County moving toward doing something like that, or would that have to take place at a state level?
I think that would have to happen at a broader level.
Okay.
There have been some states that have moved in that direction, and we've seen one large retailer locally that's already making a commitment. Kroger's has talked about, I think they set I don't remember the year, maybe 2023
Something
or
like
something
that.
in that
Yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah.
They're committed to moving completely away from plastic bags.
Okay, that's very good. Well, you know, one of the quickest ways to change behavior is to charge people for it. So that may be a possibility then. Okay, very good. Let's talk a little bit about cardboard and the importance of being able to recycle cardboard to our system, our stream or whatever.
So cardboard is actually very recyclable, has pretty good value, and the big thing is it has to be clean cardboard. So when you get that pizza box and
Right.
it's full of greasy cheese after you're done eating, please throw that away.
Yeah.
Okay.
That doesn't help.
But your Amazon boxes that come through the mail, you know, go ahead and fold those up, smash them down, and those are very recyclable.
Okay, well, that's good to know. I think a lot of people need to understand better what is and what isn't. There used to be questions about magazines versus newspapers versus plain office paper. What's the story about paper?
It's all recyclable.
Yeah.
It all is.
It's all
Yeah.
recyclable.
And it can all go together and doesn't
Yep.
have to be sorted or anything of that nature.
Yep.
And then metal, cans, aerosol cans, anything that's metal.
Well, you want to really keep things out of there. Aerosol cans are not good. You want to probably
Okay.
you probably want to throw those away because
Okay.
they have a tendency they could explode. But
Okay.
But if they're empty, if they're truly empty, they're probably all right. But generally, focus on your cans, your aluminum cans, your steel cans. Yeah.
Okay. And how clean do these have to be? How much do we have to be concerned about washing our recyclables?
The biggest worry with these recyclables is actually contaminating some of the other recyclables in there. So you want to get them relatively rinsed out.
Okay.
But you're just taking that clean cardboard, and if you get a bunch of food waste that's inside of your metal can and
Right.
it gets all over your cardboard, now you've contaminated that. So
I see. Okay, so that contamination becomes a problem then
Yeah.
as well.
So like, your milk containers, your milk jugs and everything, just, we always just rinse it out several times, and so it's a little bit more clear.
Right,
So there's
right.
not extra milk left in there.
Right,
on
no
your bottle-
drips and draps of
That's
things. You
right.
want to get rid of those. Okay, yes, sir.
Oh, no, and you can leave the cap on. So leave the
Oh, you
cap on your
can?
plastic bottles.
I think that's another myth, that you have to,
Yeah, I agree 100%. That is a myth, no question about it, yeah.
okay.
So for the longest time I did that. I took the lids off. So.
Yes, and so I bet some of these things are on your website with frequently asked
Yes.
questions too.
Yep,
So
yep.
we will direct people there before the end of the program. And then finally, with Recycling Right, we have glass. So let's talk about glass.
Yeah, so glass, as long as it's not broken glass, so your whole bottles, those are generally, they're sortable, right? So, yeah,
Okay.
the glass bottles are fine to throw in the recyclables.
But not light bulbs.
Not light bulbs.
Okay.
Please, not light bulbs.
Okay, please not light bulbs.
Or batteries.
No, okay.
batteries.
All right.
Now, batteries are recyclable, though. So if
Right,
you,
it's yours, but not in with the...
but do not throw them in your mixed
Right.
recyclables.
Okay,
Bring,
so-
bring those to our transfer station,
Right.
to our kind of our special waste drop-offs. There's a battery spot.
Okay, there's a place for batteries at that transfer station. Well,
Exactly.
What else have I not asked about in the special things that you all maybe want to highlight or add?
I was just going to say, not needles and syringes. Those are absolute no-no.
That's important.
Yeah, very
Okay.
important, yeah. And
Do you
and
take
also-
those at the transfer station?
No, we don't.
Okay.
No. Interesting one. After elections, we'll have a special yard sign drop off. So those can be recycled.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Because sometimes they just sit there for months.
Yep.
And now people know where they can pick it up and take it. Okay.
But one of the things I always thought you could recycle up until several years ago was hose. Your garden
Yeah,
hose that always gets a hole in it after a couple of years, but no,
Throw
You
that in the
can't
do
trash.
that.
That has to
Put it
go in the trash
yeah.
too. Well, I think we've learned a lot tonight about how to recycle, recycle right. And anything else we need to add on that topic?
I think we hit most of them.
Okay. I think we've also, in answering the caller's question, we talked a little bit, we covered McMurph and what happens at McMurph and where it is and how you can bring almost anything there and people can go there and just pick things up. Are there hours generally, is it general working hours? Are they?
No, the hours are limited. Actually, folks should go to our website
And check
or
them.
call us and get that information.
Okay, so they won't be there at the wrong time to try to
Right,
make
exactly.
that change. Okay, let me see here. We want to talk about where does the waste go? Where does all of this go? We know some of it goes in the landfill, but what kind of give us the overall view about what goes where?
Oh, okay. So we really do. We try to educate the public on diverting waste as much as possible. And we've kind of set or actually working together with the Ohio EPA over the years, they've set a target for communities to be over 66% from their industrial sector, and then over 25% for the residential folks. And our industrial community has really done great over the years. They're over 80% of the recycling gets recycled, or their things are recycled. And residential are right up close to the 25% as well.
That's good. That's
Yeah.
good. What do you think will take us even higher than that? What do you think it'll take?
I think the big focus for us is not necessarily increasing the recycling numbers. It's more making sure that our recyclables are cleaner, less contamination.
Okay.
Because that really it reduces the cost of recycling sorting.
Okay.
And so that's really, I think over the next few years, that's really you're going to see that's the
Yeah.
focus.
Well, that's a good education piece.
Yeah,
And so-
and that's why we're saying recycle right.
Right, by
know.
getting it cleaner, try
Yeah,
to get it clean.
exactly.
We have another call.
Okay.
So, yes, we're anxious to hear your question. Thank you for calling into the program, and please go ahead.
Thank you. In your discussion of recycling, I can see I've been doing almost everything wrong for a number of years. Even though I put so much energy and effort into it, I just did not know. I've been putting my cans and plastics and glass bottles into plastic bags. I've been putting boxes with food parcels into the recycling. So I suppose I'm wondering about the outreach and the education of the public on how to be effective with recycling. And I guess also I always wondered, where do the great quantity of plastic bags go? If the plastic bags are not to go to recycling, and if they are to go in with regular trash, where do those go, and how long does it take for those to degrade?
Many questions at once, but all excellent. Thank you very much for bringing that up. I think you heard that. So we talked about plastic. Many would advocate eliminating the use of plastic bags as much as possible.
Yes, and yes, the answer to where do they go? They'll end up in the landfill, and they take a long time to break down in a landfill.
A long time. So they're going to be with us for a long time. Those things are. Okay. All right. Good. Good.
And I think what we are trying to do is get the word out to the public as much as possible as far as what you can and cannot recycle. And obviously we need to do a little better job, I think.
Well, I think you're doing an excellent job tonight by telling. I think everybody is learning something about how to reduce contamination and put cleaner things in. And I think that's an important message. So. And on the subject of education, your division also has, and our county is fortunate to have, an entire environmental learning center. So we also have a slide which has some pictures about the environmental learning center, and I would like for you to tell the viewers what goes on there and why should they go visit.
Yeah, first of all, it's a lot of fun, right? It's a great atmosphere for folks to learn about what it means to be sustainable, and that centers on things like recycling. It centers on water, wastewater, all of the various environmental services that we offer, but then just generally on what sustainability looks like. And so there's many hands-on exhibits inside of the Learning Center. It has a pervious pavement parking lot, so if you've never seen that, it's a very, very fun thing. You take a glass of water out there and dump it on the ground and watch the water disappear into the ground and recharge the aquifer. It's a lot of fun. We put over 6,000 people a year for the last 5 years. I think we opened over 5 years ago now, have come through the facility, and it really is a great opportunity for folks to get those hands-on exhibits, as well as it's got a kind of one-of-a-kind view of our transfer station floor. So there you can see the big trucks come in with the trash, and then push it into the big trucks that take it out. And see all the additional opportunities for recycling along the way. Where
it's fascinating, And there's a lot of like Boy Scout, Girl Scout troops, classes. I've been there and seen them, and the kids are just so excited about it, and they have a lot of hands-on things that they can do. There's a lot of like recycling things there. It's a big table, and what do you do with this? You recycle it or not? And it's fascinating. Kids love it.
Well, that's wonderful. That's good.
I think all they have to do is just call and make an appointment for a group to come.
That's right.
And then we're going to come back about when these things are open, but you can also come without an appointment. Is that right?
Yeah, we really recommend folks make an appointment just so that we have staff, our program and outreach staff that works there. It really, you may show up and there may already be 50 kids in the facility.
I see.
So you really
too crowded to get to see what you want. All right.
They have one area there that's would be what it would be like to be in a tornado. You can hear.
Yeah. Oh my!
Yeah. Oh, it's fascinating.
It sounds like it really is, and all of this is run by your division and the staff that are doing this education. That's fantastic. What is this green parking lot? You just mentioned it about pouring the cup of water on the ground.
Sure.
What is this?
So it's.
I've never seen one.
Yeah, it's basically looks like a normal parking lot, except for there's a space in between the stones, the aggregate that you see, and so it's you can pour a glass of water on it, and the water will be able to make its way into the aquifer and recharge it. So
Okay.
it's very interesting.
Is this also becoming, is it moving into residential use?
In some places it is.
Okay.
The big challenge with it has been making sure that it holds up.
I was
right?
going to say, is it durable?
That's
Yeah.
been one of the challenges with it. But how we've used it in our parking lot is it's kind of in between the major parking areas where
Alright.
people walk. So
Okay.
and we drain everything to that area, so you don't need traditional catch basins like you would have for stormwater.
Right, right. Very interesting. And then you have educational contests at this center as well. Would you like to tell the viewers a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. I think my favorite one is the our calendar contest where we run it every year,
Yes,
and you get
yes.
to see just the wonderful artists that we have in our community that happen to be in the grades of K through 12, and you know, it just always amazes me how talented those students are. And we'll center the calendar contest on a couple of topics each year, and they'll kind of tailor their artwork to that, and it's amazing. And the calendars, we give them out free every year. So if you get into the end of December and you're looking for a calendar, stop by one of the Montgomery County locations, and we'll have them.
They have the calendars then. And is there a group of people that judges these? And so they judge and they pick
Yeah,
the
right,
12,
Pat.
the 12
Wright
months?
Patterson, some of the officers out there judge, as well as
Oh, good.
some other teachers, and yeah, we have a group.
Okay.
So it really is interesting.
And we're always looking for judges, so
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll have to look you up.
We're neutral and impartial,
There
so
you
we'll be helping.
And
in
it's
the-
hard.
Yeah, I'm
It's
sure.
Very hard.
I'm sure.
I've seen it. I've watched it. It's very hard
Yeah.
because these kids really work so hard
Yes,
to
yes.
do this, and it's just, they're just as good in their, if they're a 7th or 8th grader as sometimes the 1st and 2nd graders.
I bet.
They're just great. It's
Yeah.
just wonderful.
Good. And I have, of course, seen those calendars, and they are
Okay.
very attractive and very,
That's
very
right.
nice, very good, well
Yeah,
put together.
seen it, yeah.
Now, does the contest take place at what time of year?
Sure. So it always takes place. It's actually during I think it's almost a month or 2 months, but there's information on our website
Okay.
about that. There's also a couple of other contests. We run a poetry contest,
Okay.
which is fun, and another one that we started a few years ago, which is the recycled art contest. And
Okay.
I tell you, it's amazing what some of the students have come up with, you know, reusing everything from your old tin cans to your milk jugs and everything in between. So.
Right, right. Well, that's good because it promotes reusing that kind of stuff.
Well, as far as the calendars are concerned too, that we always send a message out to all the schools to tell the teachers if they want to do this, they have, you know, let's say from October until January, February, and then when they start to go through the process of judging. So teachers always, you know, get information on it so
Good.
they can start to talk
Promote
to the
it,
kids too.
yeah.
Promote
And get it done in time to actually produce
Exactly.
the calendar for the beginning of the
Exactly,
year.
yeah.
And if folks have practice homeschooling, I mean, that's also,
yeah.
we've
They
had some
can-
very impressive art that's come out of some homeschooled folks.
That's
Yeah.
very nice. Gives them a chance to participate like that. And then we have the Montgomery County Beautiful program. Which one of you wants to tell our viewers about participation in that?
Yeah, so our Montgomery County Beautiful program is actually, it's underneath the Keep America Beautiful program, and we run several pieces with that. One of our most popular is our trailer that communities can pick up to basically clean up their community. We've got 2 different trailers, and they can contact our solid waste district. If you want a weekend, you definitely need to call early, especially in the spring, because it'll book up, or both of them will book up really quick. But they come stocked with rakes. I mean, anything that you would need for your
Cleanup.
cleanup
Your
program,
cleanup.
it's all in there.
Okay.
Oh, and it's come spring, you know, you've got to call in early to reserve the trailer because they're always booked, and it's great. You know, the commissioners have gone to a couple of the neighborhoods when they make a big deal about we're going to do this, you know, whole neighborhood here, and you know, all the residents come out and they're all excited, and it's very nice, very worthwhile.
Yes, it's important to have that kind of cleanup pride and get it all done so that the whole neighborhood is participating in it. And so you all are also doing the Adopt an Area program to keep it clean, right?
That's right, yeah. And there's some information on our website about that program. It's something that we've been looking at. Can we get a little bit, folks a little bit more involved with that? So that would
Okay,
be,
so you have areas that need to be adopted.
Yes.
Okay, so that's good. That's good to know. And all of those are a part of the Keep Montgomery County Beautiful program, correct?
That is
all
correct.
of those are the components of doing that. So these are then, are they also year-round programs?
they are.
Okay, even though you're going to have more cleanups in the spring or maybe in the fall as well. But okay, well that's really quite quite good. You have some mascots that are probably hanging around that educational center. Who are your mascots?
Yeah, Lucky Ladybug.
Ladybug. Okay.
Kirby the Cardinal,
And Kirby the Cardinal, yeah.
All right.
and Dewey and Splash.
Dewey and Splash.
Yep.
Okay. Well,
And this summer you'll probably see them if you happen to go down to a Dayton Dragons game. You may catch one of those.
Okay.
One of those mascots there. The Dragons have actually been a great partner of ours for since the day they opened their doors.
since they came.
Yes. So you may see some of our folks out there partnering with the Dragons mascots in some events.
All right.
Yeah, we go out at one of the games, and usually one of them throws out the first ball.
Oh, that's
So,
nice.
Yeah, it's fun, and the kids love it. The
Of
kids
course.
love it.
Of
Who
course.
has the best fastball, Kirby or was it Lucky?
I don't want to.
Not on the air anyway. You don't want to say
They
about
practice a lot,
about
let's
that.
put it that way.
How do you assess the impact of the Keeping Montgomery County Beautiful efforts and programs within that? I'm sure you measure everything that you do. You are an engineer, and
Yeah, right.
it's environmental services. It's all measured. So how do you take a look at that?
So, I mean, one of the ways is how I mentioned previously, you've got to call early because those trailers get booked up. And we've had, over the last few years, almost every weekend, we actually got a second trailer a few years ago. Both of our trailers every weekend are pretty much booked up, starting once the snow kind of melts and, we get out from the winter doldrums, people start cleaning up the community and in a big way, and those will be pretty much booked all through the fall. So
Well, that shows, that's quite an indication
Yeah.
of the success
Yeah.
of those, yes. And as you already mentioned, you want some more areas adopted, so we want to be sure to get back to that.
I was just going to say, I kind of liken it to, they used to be called Christmas in April. What is it? Rehab. What do they call
Yeah,
that?
Rebuilding
program?
Together
Rebuilding
Dayton.
Together.
Yes, yes.
Exactly. It's almost similar to that, but not into the homes, but in the neighborhoods.
neighborhoods.
And it's just so good, and citizens in the neighborhoods, they feel good about it too, when they see how nice everything looks. So.
Right, right. It's very rewarding to have your neighborhood cleaned up. It really is. And after the mascots, I wanted to just ask each of you or one of you, however you want to answer, if there were one or two things that you would encourage everybody who's watching this program to be sure to do or to do differently, what would that be for you?
I think for me, it was probably the trash bags and keeping them out of your recyclables.
Okay.
That's very, very common. Folks are trying to do the right thing, and
Right.
and trash bags, plastic bags, and recyclables are really they're a mess
Okay.
at the other end. So if you'd stop doing that, that would be great. And if you have a doubt whether something's recyclable, either you can check our website or just throw it out. If you have a doubt, throw it out. It's better than putting something in your recyclables that really shouldn't be there.
All right. And that, again, is because it gunks up the machinery
Yeah.
and slows down the entire process. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah. And I was just going to say the same thing, and that is, just recycle right. If you have any doubts, just put it in the trash and don't put it in the recyclables, because, it costs money.
Right.
It costs money when those machines get messed up. It costs money, and then that comes back to us, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the cost a little bit more. What would you
Sure.
like our viewers to know about the cost of of your division and removing all of this waste?
So, I think back to Judy made the point of all 28 of our jurisdictions are members of our solid waste district. And what that means is all of the municipal solid waste, so all of the trash from their homes comes to our transfer station. And we are able to buy in bulk, essentially, the landfilling and disposal services for all of our residents. So we buy that service in bulk. We actually have a 10-year contract with the landfill. So for the next 10 years, we have that landfill space reserved at a fixed price. So scale matters. And,
It does.
And all of our jurisdictions working together really makes that possible.
All right. And that cost also is how important it is to divert things from the landfill by increasing our recycling. And
Exactly.
Okay.
The 3 R's.
Right, yes. Reduce, reuse, and recycle. That's great. And I didn't think that we were going to have time, and we don't have a lot of time for another huge part of your environmental services, which is water. But we do have a little bit of time to talk about that. So I would like to put up the slide that that's entitled "Our Water and Sewer System is Old." That's important. So, but that's the title of the slide. But we'll put that up there, and so I'll let you talk about the age and the structure and the physical part of all of this moving of water around.
All right. So on the water and sewer side, we serve 12 jurisdictions in Montgomery County. And if you think about when a lot of the construction in our community happened, it was right after World War II. So the early 1950s was when a large portion of our system was constructed. With that, that means that it's now in excess of 60 years old, and in many, actually a lot of cases, about half of our system was built in the 50s and 60s.
Okay.
And so the life of most of that infrastructure is not more than 50 to 60 years.
So we're right at it.
Yep.
So we're right at it. And we have a lot of infrastructure, but people don't think of the amount of pipe that's in the ground to get their water and their sewer in and then away. You can actually take our system and stretch it to Texas and back.
Oh, wow.
There is over 1,000 miles of water line and 1,000 miles of sewer line. And we have to reinvest in that, and that costs about $1 million a mile.
Okay.
Our entire system, if you built it today, would cost in excess of $3 billion. So that's a lot of reinvestment that we have to make. But
It is.
we're committed to, and with the Commissioner's support, we're committed to that reinvestment. So you may see a backhoe near you, and we'll be sharing with the communities where that work's taking place.
All right.
And when we decided to do this, you and our county administrator went to the different jurisdictions and talked to them, and went to council meetings and explained what was going on, what we were going to have to do, and it was met very positively. So nobody wants to have their streets dug up and all that, but it's something that has to be done.
Right. Since we have to replace that infrastructure, it's just it's got to happen. Then, and I did not know that we had so much. Texas and back that's a lot. Then we have one more slide. I think we want to spend a few minutes looking at, which is the 20-year capital reinvestment plan. So this is bearing. Why don't you just walk us through this then?
Yeah, sure. So we took an approach that said, okay, what is the risk of our infrastructure, both the people that we serve if it fails, how large of an impact would it have, as well as the likelihood that that'll happen. And so we then prioritized what our projects were, and there were a couple of really kind of big projects that came to the surface. There was a big one on the water side and a big one on the sewer side, so we're tackling those first. But we also have a lot of kind of ongoing underground infrastructure investments that need to happen as well. So over a 20-year period, this reinvestment rate to really reduce the likelihood of failure to our customers, it's about $750 million. So that's a lot of money. But if you think about our house, $3 billion, it's a big house. There's a lot to do there. So I appreciate the commissioners and your support that you've given to us. And we will be good stewards of our ratepayers' money and make sure that we are doing a good job and doing what we said we would do and replace the aging infrastructure.
Okay. It's a major project with a 20-year timeline. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So are you, where are you working first?
We're working all over.
Okay.
We're working all over. Yeah, actually, one of the things that you will be seeing in the not too distant future is we're going to put more of this information on our website so our ratepayers can see where we are working, and we'll be in city and township council meetings to share that work as well.
Good. Okay. I'm sure the public will be interested in looking at all of that. Water rates, okay, related to infrastructure and everything else, but how do our water rates here compare to other areas?
So I always liken this to, you know, you don't want to be at the highest end, you don't want to be at the lowest end, but somewhere in the middle probably makes sense, right? And that's really where we are here locally in Montgomery County. We're collecting the dollars that we need to reinvest, but at the same time we're staying as lean and efficient as we can with our operations to keep those costs down.
Okay, all right. And let's say we had a water rate change in the last year, did we not? Okay, and how did that come about?
So we spent the department spent a couple years really evaluating what the system reinvestment needs needed to be, and then we brought forward some options to the commissioners, and the commissioners formed up a subset of business community leaders to really inform the process, and we then developed some rates over a 5-year program that would allow us to reinvest at the rate that would we would feel would be the ongoing reinvestment rate, and so really appreciate the commissioners' support and the public's support in that program. So we're locked into a 5-year rate program right now. We've just entered the second year of that.
Second year of a 5-year rate program. All right. So people can know that it's going to stay steady for a while, for a couple of years.
Yeah, we couldn't front it just the first or second year. I mean, that would just been too difficult for our citizens. So
right, exactly.
Spread it out a little bit.
We have one last slide that I would like for the viewers to see. It is the contact information slide. Yes, for the Montgomery County Solid Waste District. So if the staff could put that up, that would be wonderful. It's going to give the address for people. This is the Solid Waste District at 1001 Increte Lane in Moraine, and it has their hours, and they're closed on Sunday. So, and people do not need to, during the open hour, they don't need to call ahead and make an appointment. They just need to come. Okay. And would you like to give us your website so people can check that out?
Sure. It's www.mcohio.org, and then you can look up either the water side of the house or solid waste from there.
Okay, that's great. Is there anything that you wanted to say that I haven't asked you? Anything?
No, I think you covered
anything on these topics? Okay. Well, we have only a couple of minutes left. I want to thank you again for coming on. I feel in many ways we've just kind of hit the tip of the iceberg of many things that your division is responsible for. And I presume that if individuals are interested in perhaps working in some of these aspects of your division, that they would go to the Montgomery County Employment website.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And you are wanting people now, right?
Actively looking. We have, I believe, over 20 job openings right now.
Okay.
And really, we look for entry-level folks that want to make a difference in the community, but aren't afraid to be outside and get their hands dirty. So it's a great and rewarding field, and we'd love to have folks take a look.
Okay, well that's good to know. All right, we're really running out of town. Each one of you has like less than a minute to any concluding remarks that you'd like to share.
I was just going to say, I think it just, I'm so glad we've been able to just talk about the recycling right. I think it's very important. It's critical to the future of our community and our environment. So I'm glad that hopefully people now will really pay attention to that. So if they have any questions, the phone number is there, they can call.
Right, it is, and I'll just give it again. It's 225-4999. Get them started on that. Yes, and all of your educational activities to help us all learn how to do this right, the old and the young. So, all right. Any closing thoughts from you, Pat?
Thank you for having us, and
Okay.
thank you, Commissioner Dodge, for all your support.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
no, thank you.
It's
Thank
been a
you. They did
pleasure
great
to
job.
learn about all of this, and we thank you very much for coming on the program. I'd like to thank the viewers who called in, and those that are watching and didn't call in, but you can always contact them at 225-4999 if you have particular individual questions about your recycling plans, and they will get you connected. So thank you and good evening.